for the Phantoms, they have two, always, in the building. And for some, well, we've had some people that have three that they rotate, but it also depends on who the Phantom is and who the Christine is. Because it's really depends where your leading lady on is, how many masks you have on hand. Because if they're constantly being repaired and repainted, then you need to have an extra one. But we always make a minimum of two for everybody, and it's near the stage. The Phantom's dresser usually has it tucked away somewhere backstage, so that in fact, if he comes running off after the first lair scene and his mask is damaged, then they switch him into the other. You know what I mean? We always have, yeah, we have to have a spare.
And then do you keep all of them? So like say Norm's, when he's done being the Phantom, what happens to his mask?
It will go into the big bin of masks that are all, we have a grading system, 1 through 10 of the condition they're in. This one is in the number 3 bin because it's in pretty sad shape. Needs a relining and a repaint, it needs everything, So the last time I used almost every mask we own is for the gala when we had to have, how many Phantoms did we have? Like 30 former Phantoms up on stage all at once, all with a mask on. And I didn't have a chance to fit them, so I had to repaint like 50 masks. So that there were masks enough for everybody to try on and find something that fit them well enough to sing in. The other thing that you don't quite figure out, in addition to the fact that there's prosthetics pushing it away from the face here, and you want to get the mask to really fit, this doesn't fit me either, yeah. They have prosthetics on their lip. And this cut line is so tricky because when they're singing and the prosthetics look into the mask will be going like this. So that you should be scheduled about 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes for a mask fitting with the prosthetics, because you have to keep moving, you have to keep fiddling with this cut line right here to try to make sure that the prosthetics on the lip doesn't bump it out of place. Because you know what I mean, if it keeps bumping it out of place and bumping it out of place, eventually your mask is sitting like that. It's sort of like a bad idea. Yeah, this is a terrible layer. Sorry, the amount of curve that goes this way pulls it against your face, and the amount of the dip here is what makes it either flatten out or hug in this way. So the shape and the curve of this thing is like an endless. It's really cool, depending on the shape of the head. And of course, your head is now a weird. It's one shape on one side and one shape on the other. So it's sort of like anyway. So any questions about all things mask?
If they wanted to keep the mask, could they? Like
no. Well, there's only 2 Phantoms that I know of that have been allowed to take one of their masks, and it was the broken one, and they had to go all the way to the producer. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so they're really expensive. Yeah, it's shoot, it's crap right there. We use them constantly, and they're just they're so expensive and delicate and fragile. We tend to use a lot of them over and over and over and over and over. So, and especially now that there's no more sharing of masks, it's sort of like there's easily has to be 20 masks over in that building. You know what I mean? That are in constant use. You know what I mean? And they're always needing to be swapped out because they're being repaired or repainted or something like that. So, no, they really don't. Well, at least in America, I don't know what happens over the rest of the world.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't tell you because I only do the shows in the USA. So, anyway.